trying to get an airstrike over on that opposite side. Copy.
Huzzah. Almost like a little fish pull. I don't know why reeling in a fish sounds like a sucker. Hi everyone, Town from the Airsoft headquarters here, and today we have another after action report. Today, we're looking at a slightly older video. Some breakdowns involving Operation Iron Fury at the Government Training Institute, GTI, that if I remember correctly, we went to in 2020. Now, this in particular was the first engagement of the day. Now, when it comes to GTI event, the Iron Fury event in particular, we were playing with Third Coast Airsoft. And specifically, we were the Royal Rifles, which is a AOR2 or MARPAT camoed team affiliation, which just means that we were reconnaissance element for the entire event. And we've done that for several TCA events, and it's a lot of cool. It was a lot of fun. So essentially, the whole point of recon is to, relay information and intelligence to those that can do action based on that intelligence. So we are not designed to be an assault or action element to begin with. So what is kind of the story with the AAR? Let's talk about the action. Now, in particular, our team was spawning way down here. It's actually, in relation to the map, it'd actually be way down past the floor. So we were way up here. We were far away from spawn. So we intentionally didn't want to risk the chances of getting shot, bleeding out, and having to walk all the way back. That would have taken us out of the action in order to be a proper supportive element. The tan team respawn was somewhat up here-ish. I mean, kind of like over here-ish, but these guys were spawning in way up here. So our task was to try to capture point Nora. And this was an objective that tan and green side could have tried to fight over. So what we did intentionally is over here, just to give you like some type of contextual background, this is all kind of very low brush, grass, a little bit of shrubbery here and there, very barren, pretty flat. You can look over this really easily. And then we have here some actual trees, some very big brush, pine needles, like coloration that is very like AOR2 and MARPAT. Very flat ground here. Obviously, we have the roads, intersections, so on and so forth. So what we did is we were able to pre-deploy as that recon element. So what we did is we walked up to Nora. We saw that there was a bunch of tan guys up here, kind of hanging around in this tree line over here, stationing themselves in the shrubbery over here. And we were like, okay, we're not going to spawn on Nora, but we want to be as close as possible in order to relay that actionable intelligence. So what we did is we walked up here, we came over, and we had our very small squad come up here, and we were able to lay down and wait for the game to start, because we had like a rough ballpark time as to when game would start. So we were able to march upwards, wait for that time counter to pass in order to have that game start. So essentially we wanted to already be in a position where we were relatively hidden, out of the way from any type of contact, whether it be visual or any type of physical engagement with guns, so on and so forth. We just essentially wanted to act like we weren't there. We did have some tan guys kind of creep into the tree line here just a little bit, try to figure out where we went, that early game reconnaissance. But we were far enough away, and we weren't at the crossroads. We were in the tree line just a little bit to where we were obscured. We intentionally laid down in order to have as low of a profile as possible and pretty much blend into the environment. And we laid there for a couple of minutes. Game started. We were able to have our squad leader relay information to our commanding officer, our XO, and say that Tana's already on Nora, fires some mortars or airstrikes on the location in order to wash them out because they were starting to gather in numbers. Now, we stayed here. We were just pretty much just watching. There was a very small clearing here, and we were able to visually watch. Not only here, we could also watch here at the crossroads, but we were able to watch those tan guys start to move in this direction. So we were able to not only relay that there was already a large number of force of tan already on Nora, but we were able to watch those tan squads come in through the trees. We were able to see their profiles and the number of squads that were at least coming through that tree line. And we were able to relay, hey, further numbers, exactly this many minimum are supporting Nora. So continue to do mortars, continue to do airstrikes, so on and so forth. So we were able to just relay that information. Now, to my knowledge, we did have some green guys come in on the lower part of the intersection here and try to do some type of assault this direction and try to, take out what remained of those tan guys. But again, the tan spawn was so much closer to Nora than green. It was very hard in order to get the advantage of having the most amount of numbers immediately. So we just we hunkered there. We were checking things out. Unfortunately, and this is a very big unfortunate, there was a motorized vehicle arrangement that was green team. So there was 3 vehicles that were making their way along this path here in particular. We were still laying down, just chilling out. We were able to identify that they were green. Our squad leader was trying to get in contact with the motorcade leader and relay that, hey, you've got green guys over here in the brush, don't engage. The gunner didn't get that message, and so a couple of our guys did get shot, did get taken out, which was very unfortunate. But we did get a very fresh supply of green guys. I'm not exactly sure from where, but they came in, and we were able to come in from the side here. It was a very typical military training experience of, resupply. Now we're part of that assault group, and we were able to pretty much push into this wood line here. We pretty much just took over this whole space here, taking out whatever tan was remaining. The weird part is, and again, this is just all the fun of being airsoft and having very little military experience, is I'm not exactly certain where these motorized vehicles went, but we got into through this tree space. We got to the road intersection here. There was still tan coming in from up here and still coming down and assaulting. We had a couple of guys that were tan down here. We unfortunately lost all of these guys in the process. So these guys were no longer a asset, but we had like small pockets of tan that were hanging out over here, a couple smaller groups of tan over here. So we were able to get the guys that were immediately next to the road. Again, in those shrubs way out here, there was a couple of tan guys, and so they were able to just point all of their guns this direction, and it's a capture point, so we have to be able to. They didn't push, they were just able to, they were just in distance enough to where they could pepper the objective of Nora. So it was very difficult for us to concentrate our guys here, push this direction, because we also needed to take this guy out, or this group out, this group out, and this group out. So unfortunately, that was kind of just one of those stalemate issues where, over the course of the action, having tan have their respawn a little bit closer, having that more steady supply of guys at their disposal, it was a little hard for us in order to have a large enough force in order to remain dangerous and able to provide a opposition of force. So Nora, if I don't recall us being able to get those guys, I unfortunately got shot somewhere up here and bled out, had to walk back to spawn like a loser. But that's kind of the fun of a recon. That is why we went recon, is we were able to supply that indirect intelligence as far as, hey, you have these many guys here, start dropping mortars. Because if we didn't drop the mortars, if we didn't drop those airstrikes, who knows how much harder it would have been in order to capture Nora. We were able to hang out here, take this entire wooded area here, but it was just those couple of small pockets of guys that were just hanging out that were, still within a shooting distance of the actual capture point. And the capture point is, it's an actual switch, and you have to click it over to your team. So it's not a referee that's just sitting there and waiting for someone to get inside of the circle and go, oh, well, now it's green team. So we have to actually get to a box and hit a switch. And that was the only way we were able to capture that capture point. So pretty hard to do that when you've got different groups of guys, multiple barrels from multiple directions within shooting distance of you, and trying to figure out where everyone is in one big movement. So it was very complicated. It was super not great, but it was still a lot of fun. Again, in hindsight, this is part of the after action report. If we were able to get the motorcade here and able to, at least in my opinion, looking at this in hindsight as that top down view, if we could get truck, that means that we could have had a motorized vehicle taking this group out, motorized vehicle just laying hate into the tree line here, possibly shooting over Nora to this group over here, and then have this guy take this group out. So having that motorized support would have been extremely beneficial if we were able to better coordinate where vehicles were supposed to go. But again, that's kind of like the fun of all of the chaos completely surrounding you. We know where everyone generally was looking back at the footage, but in the moment of just watching, dozens of tan run through the tree line towards objective Nora, and you're like, there's gonna be bodies everywhere, and then you literally pop out of a tree line and you have to do like whole 180s as far as where's tan, as green is running in front of you, behind you. There's just bodies everywhere, everyone's screaming. It gets very hectic and very chaotic, but that's part of the fun of Airsoft. But I think the biggest lesson would be for us specifically, remain as a recon element. Maybe don't join the assault force immediately, because ultimately our whole objective was to relay that intelligence for the position right here. Now, this was very ideal. It would have been extremely hard for us to have remained in a low profile environment in the initial walk up to Nora, realize that there is tan here, and started to walk off this direction in order to watch over the field. Tactically, being able to look at the distance over this open field and able to physically count the tan that are hanging out here on Nora, that would have been much better. But at the start of the game, tan already knew that there was some green guys hanging out somewhere around here. So being able to disappear into the tree line without venturing any further into the unknown here is super advantageous. So in order to go in as little as possible, expose our position as little as possible, and just hunker down, that was the best thing that we could have done. There were positions that would have been better, but we did the best that we could with the environment that we had available and with the number of guys and equipment that we had at our disposal. But yeah, that is what we have there. If you guys have any further questions, put them down into the comment section below. And if you enjoy some of these AAR videos, leave a like. I'd appreciate it. That's all I have for you guys. So, you guys take care, stay safe, stay positive. I'll see you in the next one. Take care.